this here.
Yes, very warm welcome once again. We're still on a special edition on Friday. And of course, this is where we bring you a lot of entertainment, but also sport for you, something that could be spicing up your weekend. And of course, here we are talking about a book, one of a kind in Uganda. And of course, this is a book that is a global educational children book that is titled Saving the Endangered Mountain Gorilla. Now, this seems like a good story. How does this even come about? Who is saving the mountain gorilla? This is something that I will not talk about much because we do have the author in the house, and of course talking about Lisa Randolph. She's here to talk about the book, and of course it's a pleasure to have you, Lisa, this morning with us.
Thank you.
Say good morning to your viewers.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, we want to talk about this book because it's also the Wildlife Divas Adventures team that is on you on this. How do you get to tell the story of, you know, amazing adventures in Uganda, but also relate to the children? And what is the story all about? Okay.
Well, the Wildlife Divas Adventure team Saving the Mountain Gorillas is about my experience with children that I worked with in California. Yes. And I worked for a nonprofit organization where the children lived in an underserved community. And working with them for 10 years, when we lost funding and we closed our doors, the idea for this story came about. And I wanted to show our children in a positive light. Mm-hmm. It always seems that we need to have our children saved, or we need to be saved, and I wanted them to be in a position where they were empowered to go out and save something. So the mountain gorilla was the first animal I chose on the critically endangered species list, and happened to be here in Uganda. Yeah. And so that's how the story came about.
Yeah, and because it speaks to the truth of it, the mountain gorillas really are in the endangered species.
Absolutely.
But then also you talk about the fact that you know, the wildlife divas go on a trip of a lifetime, and they fly to Uganda to save endangered gorillas. They will use science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics to complete their first international mission.
Yes.
But what happens when the trek is interrupted by the poachers? That is going to leave the reader in anticipation of where is that and what do the poachers do? And I think this is where I would bring in Kevin, who is also here with us working with wildlife, and he would know a thing or two about the poachers. But it also speaks to the story. Kevin, you met up with Lisa. Tell us about that story on how you meet with her organization, and also how does that bring in the innovation of you even contributing to this writing.
Good morning, Uganda. I'm honored to be here today at UBC. Dear listeners, I'm Kevin Byarugaba, the managing director and the founder of Let's Go Gorilla Uganda Tours and Travel. I met Lisa it was an Instagram post.
Oh.
So it's a good story. I posted something about, it was a package about gorillas. If you want to go to gorilla tracking, what is the package? How much is it? What are the activities you can do after the gorilla tracking? So it was early in the morning. It was around May 2021. So Lisa saw the post. Then she commented down the post. She was like, "Hi, I'm writing a book about gorillas. I'm happy to see this package. So what is this?" Then I was like, "Can you read well about the package?" Yeah. This is Uganda, where you find the 50% of the surviving mountain gorillas in the whole world. She was surprised. Yeah. She was like, "I didn't know that."
Welcome to Uganda.
Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, you're welcome to Uganda. And if you're writing about gorillas, you have to come to Uganda, visit Uganda, explore Uganda, and know more about the gorillas." Yeah. So this is where the story started. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And of course, having given that kind of background, I know it would prompt anyone who wants to write about something to be like, okay, this is interesting, this is the incentive. But Lisa, for you, in the book, you also talk about the fact that the Wildlife Divas Adventure Team that is coming up with saving the endangered mountain gorillas is the first of the many adventures with
Yes.
Wildlife Divas. But you also talk about that this book is something to prove to the black girls that they are smart, they are creative, and can always be up to international adventure. Talk more about that.
So I know that children in situations where they're not very wealthy, they don't get to travel. And so I wanted to write a book that gave them an adventure that when you're reading it, it takes you out of your neighborhood and into the world and into the jungles of Uganda and into trekking mountain gorillas. So yes.
Now, I would want for you to take us through, at least out of the 13 chapters, what is the story like right from the first chapter? What are you talking about? Walk us through your journey until you get to the 13th chapter.
Okay, well, the first chapter basically introduces the characters and how they come about and how they meet and how they come on this adventure. So the first chapter kind of goes through the meeting, they have a little conflict, and there's an introduction of science into the first chapter. The second chapter describes the email that they get and that it tells them that they are coming to Uganda to trek gorillas. One of the characters who is basically afraid of everything is, you know, so scared, so they have to come together as a team to support their, you know, diva. And so it goes on. They finally make it to their journey to Africa, where they land in Entebbe, and from there they drive to Burundi to start their trekking.
Yes.
And in there, I introduced, along the way, they use science, technology, engineering, arts, and math along their way on their journey. So, and it's really important, the STEAM is very important. I think it is the future of the world. And if our children are not on board, they're going to be left behind. Yeah. So if I can catch them at 7, 8, 9 years old and have them interested and curious about being a primatologist or ecologist or conservationist, if I can get them interested in those sorts of career paths, then they can break the poverty cycle that they've lived in for generations.
Yeah. And that's interesting because also I think a little bit of what I could read in the book is also you bringing in the science like you talked about. I know that young girls growing up, most of them are afraid of the jungle. And for you to even take them through that journey. And you talk about, you know, scenarios like lightning strikes in the book, the science that is around it. But you know, they're able to understand that, okay, this is a phenomenon that is okay. But imagine that happening in the jungle. I know at my 7th year, I would be scared to even take that trek. But I think that's something that a lot of readers of this book would be interested in. And I know that it's something that could even go into schools and kids can read this and see that there are characters that are relatable to them. Because now we live in a world where we are encouraging young girls to go out there, take opportunities, and just like a topic we were talking about earlier about the youth taking opportunities. So this is a book that is relatable to our Ugandan children, I can tell you that for sure.
Yes.
But also we want to talk more about where you see you know, your reading kind of, your target group for this reading. Is it going to be just the children or adults also reading it? What is your target audience here?
So truly my target audience is children, say from age, for primary school, 8, 9 years old to age 12. But what I've found is as adults read the book, they say to me, oh my gosh, like I've learned things in this book that I never knew about Uganda, that I didn't know about mountain gorillas. And so the adults get just as much information from the book as the children would get. And I hope that it would bring, you know, parents and children together to read the book together and they all learn together, you know, as one. So yes.
Yeah, that is something very interesting because you also talk about the fact that this can be, you know, everyone can read this book and equally relate. And we know that the journey through Uganda is a big journey. There's a lot that you might be a Ugandan living in Kampala, but you don't even know what happens in Bwindi. And this is where I want to bring in Kevin, because we know that most of these tours companies have actually helped Ugandans to go across. But as you discover some of these stories that you know, people like Lisa are able to come here and write about them, are there initiatives to also bring it to life so that a Ugandan who is just in Kampala and is not aware of some of these adventures, are there initiatives that you as these companies bring across for Ugandans to be involved?
Thank you so much. I'll ask you first one question. Have you gone for gorilla tracking?
I haven't done gorilla tracking. I haven't done that. Although I love to travel and go through a lot of adventures, I have done wildlife before, Queen Elizabeth, but never with gorilla trekking.
So you're welcome under Let's Go Gorilla Uganda Tours and Travel.
Yes,
I've given you an offer for today.
Oh, thank you so much.
You already just let me know. So I thank the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Uganda, I thank the Tourism Board for putting a lot of effort and initiatives promote domestic tourism. So we are looking at domestic tourism today. So after COVID, we have seen a lot of Ugandans explore Uganda. I continue to thank His Excellency for bringing the drive of Explore Uganda, which is good, and we are looking forward as tour operators to give more opportunities to Ugandans to explore Uganda. You can go to Dubai, you can go to America, but imagine an American coming to Uganda and exploring your country when you've not done that. So we're trying a lot, we're doing a lot, and all Ugandans are welcome to the wildlife, are welcome to explore Uganda under any company, even if it's Let's Go Gorilla Uganda, even if it's any other company. We have a lot of packages that we've put, and I thank the schools. They are doing a lot in exploring Uganda than us, the adults. We've seen many children from schools go to national parks, go to the zoo. So there is a lot that's coming up. There is a lot that's going on with really domestic tourism.
So it's really about the initiative, because Uganda is fascinating. There are a lot of stories, and I know Lisa would be diving into a lot of those across Uganda. It is the Pearl of Africa for a reason.
It is.
But it's also no secret that most of us are unable to explore it at once, but we take it journey by journey. I want to know from you, Lisa, away from this book, can we expect more of what is in the same line, writing about Uganda and some of the fascinating stories that you found within your stay here?
Yeah, I plan on it. It has been one of the most fascinating trips I've ever experienced. Being in the national park, especially Murchison Falls, where I saw leopards and lions, and I have these beautiful videos and that I can take back to the U.S. and tell all my friends about, and now they're curious about Uganda, because we don't talk about Uganda in the U.S. So now that I've started talking, everyone wants to come and visit, and so it's turned into this thing now where everyone wants to come and visit Uganda now.
Wow, that's impressive. That's actually very impressive, because I know that they would love the adventure here. But also, when you talk about a team of the Wildlife Diverse Adventure team, we also bring in the aspect of this journey being something that is worked on as a team, but also I know that there are a lot of stories involved in here. Can you compare our kind of storytelling, if you have even gotten a chance to make some of the reads around here, to what you have back in the US? How do you find people who are into reading or writing here different with what is happening back home in the US, or if there are similarities?
Well, it is a similar process when we're trying to write books. Writing is a very solitary job, you know, when you're by yourself, you're writing. But I got involved at Georgetown University. I was accepted into a program there called the Creator Institute, And it's a collective of authors that come together. So this is a little different because it's a collective that comes together with different authors, and we all write together to give encouragement to one another. So I don't think I've seen that part in Uganda, but it's very helpful when you have other people encouraging you, because again, writing is very solitary. And so as a group, we were able to get the book finished within a year and get it published with my publisher, New Degree Press. And so it was just a year-long process when writing can actually take years to actually complete a book.
Well, which is where I would also want to know about your inspiration or your even genre of writing. As a writer, I know there are writers out there, young writers or upcoming writers, who would want to take a leave on what to do. Maybe someone, like you said, writing could take a year or even more. It's a process. But there are people stuck with stories, and like you said about relating with a team or having this creative writing together, it can be challenging. It can be challenging. But what would be coming from your inspiration, obviously, about coming to Uganda and having people like Kevin take you around, how can they relate to the kind of inspiration, and what can guide them towards the genre that they want to write about?
So I think if you have a passion for any subject, if you have a passion for any subject, the key is to just write. Don't worry about what chapters it should be or what order it should be in. You just write, and later on during the editing process, that's when you can format the book into chapters where it makes sense. So I think if you have a passion about something, I think you should just write it. This book, from the thought process, the initial idea, it actually took me 10 years from my work with the girls to actually getting the book with publishers and agents. And I had a lot of rejections along the way until I got into the Georgetown program, and everything just went smoothly. One of the key things I say is don't give up.
Yeah.
You don't give up. If you have a passion for it, keep writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. Like any other thing in life, don't give up.
Don't give up.
And of course, that is one thing I'm picking from Lisa. But also, you do talk about, having this book come out and being published here. Talking about a story in Uganda. Obviously, a lot of people will relate to it, and it also contributes to making sure that we have the survival of these mountain gorillas.
Absolutely.
And this is where I also want to bring in Kevin, well, without even getting to the spoilers, because in the book you're talking about what happens when they encounter poachers on their journey through the trekking. Yeah. That is something that we're looking forward, because it's a threat to the mountain gorillas. Yeah. But this book is now coming out to give communities, or whoever is reading, to see how we can make sure that we keep this species alive. As the tours and travel companies around, or even collaborating with the tourism board, how are you making sure that some of these poachers, or even as international people come in, they're telling stories, how do you make sure that there is no such interruptions, and how do you go about those?
Thank you so much. One is the book, Saving the Endangered Mountain Gorillas. So if we can pass this to generations, then they can be saved.
Yeah.
So we need generations to know that these gorillas have to be saved. They are not, they can't endanger anyone, so you don't have to endanger them. When you look at gorillas, they are 98% of human DNA. I don't know if you knew about that.
99%?
98. Chimpanzees are 99.
Okay.
So we share a lot. So we can save them, and through STEAM, science and technology today, that has evolved, then children can grow knowing that you can be a gorilla doctor. You can add technology to these gorillas. One, we have the My Gorilla Family app, where you can track gorillas on phone without going to the rainforest in Burundi, because sometimes tracking is not easy.
Difficult.
Yeah, sometimes it can take 5 hours. It might rain in the rainforest. So we have elders who cannot go to track the gorillas. So there is an app today that you can also track the gorillas online. More to that, you can also donate. You can save gorillas online. whereby you can adopt a family of gorillas and start supporting it in any other way. So science and technology, regarding to the book and the children, because today internet has taken over everything, and science and technology is evolving every day. Yeah. So I think it will be much hopeful to the generations to save through this system. And
I'm glad you talked about some of these initiatives, and especially what I'm trying to relate to is the app where you can easily track without actually going there. But I also want to know, is it okay, because now you relate with the gorillas, what if I want to pet one and probably give it a name? And, yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting to pet a gorilla. Maybe is that part of, like, is that on the app? Yeah. Am I able to do that?
Yeah, you can be able to do that on the app. But not you driving.
Yeah. Yeah. No, okay, I didn't mean like bringing it home, but probably I could use the app to have this particular family of gorillas and maybe take care of them. And I think that is something that Ugandans should really be.
Yeah, sure, that's the main purpose of the app.
Yeah.
So people can do that online, you can track online. So it's also all about technology as well.
Well, now I know where my next passion is. Probably I might get myself petting a gorilla. But also, Lisa, as we move into conclusion, want you to tell us more about how you think this book is now coming in, especially as we're talking about the conservation of the world's rarest animals. And, you know, fascinating how Kevin really did put it that 50% of the living ones are actually in Uganda. How do you think your writing will help within that conservation process, relating to the readers, but also to all organizations that have helped making sure that this book is published?
I think the book will help by bringing, you know, mountain gorillas to the forefront of conservation. It will also interest children and make them very curious about what I hope is conservation. I think the children are the future. There are future gorilla doctors. There are future in technology and science. They are the future. So if we get them now at this age and get them interested in going into the rainforest and making conservation a top priority, I think not only does it help the gorillas, but it also helps the communities that support the gorillas, because it brings attention, it brings tourism. I think it's an excellent opportunity for children to learn about their own mountain gorillas and the children in the US as well. So my goal is to get this book into schools so that children can read it and go on the adventure with the wildlife divas.
Yes, that is a very good adventure to take. And of course, I would imagine for the readers in the US reading about this, and it's a fascinating journey. And a lot of them will be like, yeah, someone needs to come to Uganda. Yes. That's a storyline that I'm seeing here. And of course, they also get to experience this. But also, you do look at the way you're putting these characters, and even moving into what we know back home here with storytelling, involving children in the story. They are telling a story, being involved in a journey like that some of us as adults have not taken. This is really going to be relating mostly with what happens in Uganda. And I think it goes back to, if Kevin could relate, some of the we used to call them a fireplace. Your grandmother, you know, sits somewhere to tell stories of what used to happen, and then they would name animals. Such an animal can. So you're just seated there, excited and listening to this story. You're imagining characters, but these are some of the stories that put the characters in front, and you're able to now relate to such a kind of story. And I think it's a good thing that you're writing about this. You earlier mentioned that you do have 2 more books coming up. Should we assume that those are also about Uganda?
No, well, so actually what I do with the storyline is I take the wildlife divas on adventures to the 7 continents of the world. So this is the first continent they've visited. So they'll be going to Australia, and actually the 3rd book, which is publishing next September, they'll be doubling back to Uganda and then to other countries within Africa to save elephants.
Interesting. So, interesting. Now you see, Kevin, there a lot. A lot is coming through.
Sure.
We also go to that journey. But as we move to conclude also, Kevin, I want you to tell us more about how you're also making sure that these storylines are not just written in the books, but like you mentioned about the initiatives. What would be your parting shots to the viewers watching out there? What opportunities can they tap into?
When we talk about the opportunities, one is tourism. With this book, we're gonna have lots of tourists coming to Uganda. As per when I look at my calendar, next year we're having lots of clients from the United States who are coming for the adventure under the Wildlife Divers Adventure Team. So it's going to promote tourism as well, and Uganda Tourism Board will be happy to explore, to send the message of exploring Uganda to the world. Two, it will be a great opportunity for Uganda Wildlife Authority, because this book talks about conservation. It talks about the communities surrounding the national parks. What challenges do they face? So we have a project coming up, it's called the IWF, which is going to be an international wildlife fund. So this fund would be looking at conservation, protecting the communities, funding the communities surrounding the national parks, giving bursaries to some of the kids surrounding the national parks. So it will be a good project that we are looking at in the next coming year. And I thank the Uganda Tourism Board. We did a launch on 30th July, which was great. And more to this, we have, Lisa, we have a presentation at the Ugandan Embassy here in Uganda of America. She's having a presentation where she'll be presenting the kids at Embassy Center. She'll have like a lot of kids. She'll be talking about the book, so that the kids can know what is all about the book. The author is here. She'll be presenting so that they can have that knowledge of what is written and what is being spoken. Yeah.
That's interesting, because having such presentations is actually what brings the story to life. And interesting that you talked about the launch on the 30th of July, which was attended by the U.S. ambassador to Uganda, as well as the State Minister of Tourism and Antiques. And that goes to show you how much of the support is coming through even at this moment. But I know there are people out there who are watching us and also looking forward to have this book. Where can we get these copies? How can someone get this book?
So right now, the book is available in the U.S. on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com. So it's available all over the internet. You can also download the ebook on Apple Books. It's available there. Currently, we are seeking out a publishing company to publish the book here in Uganda, because it's very difficult to have it published in the U.S. and then shipped. So we're looking for someone right now to publish the books so we can have them locally.
Well, an opportunity out there as well. But also this brings in, because most of the books actually, like you mentioned, the platforms that are available, having some of the ebooks actually subject to copyright, even Amazon getting it there. Is it easily accessible, or do people have to go through a certain channel to download it, because it could be to copyright?
No, it's very simple. You just click and purchase the book, and it downloads to your e-reader or to your phone, and you have it immediately.
Well, there you have it. A lot is in there for you to read and relate to the story that actually talks about home. And like I gave an example of my grandmother giving us stories, at the fireplace that we could easily imagine, but these are imaginations that have been put across for you, and some of the characters that are relatable. This is one to actually get. But I think let's just probably look into the fact that this is a Ugandan story. That's the fascinating part, and like you mentioned about the publishing that is you're looking for in Uganda. That's one thing that I'm actually happy about. But as we conclude, just your parting shot, Kevin.
Yeah.
What can you tell us that we can expect from this tours and travel company?
One, I would like to welcome Ugandans who are willing and want to explore Uganda, to book with us at Let's Go Gorillas Uganda. It wasn't travel. Any other company, it doesn't have only to be Let's Go Gorillas Uganda. And anyone who is viewing this, this morning show, we have good packages for domestic tourism. We have our parks equipped with everything. The accommodation is set, and we are ready to serve Ugandans domestically. This is why Uganda is the power of Africa. There's one thing I want to talk about is, why is Uganda the power of Africa? There is a map when you Google, it's called Nkugute. It's in Rubirizi. That crater lake is formed in a map that shows Africa here in Uganda.
I've actually seen that lake.
Two, when you go for gorilla tracking in
like
Bwindi, there is a group that you go to, and there is a corner, Africa corner. There is a stone of Africa that shows Africa. So Uganda is not only the power of Africa by name, it's real the power of Africa. We can explore Uganda, we can do a lot in Uganda. We have a lot of destinations to tour in Uganda, and all Ugandans domestically, locally, and internationally, you're welcome to the power of Africa, and you can book with Let's Go Gorillas Uganda as well, and I've given you the offer.
Yeah,
so you're welcome as well.
Exactly, I have an offer. Please don't get jealous. I will take that. I'll take you up on that offer, obviously. But Lisa, as we conclude, what would be your parting shots to your readers, and of course the rest of Ugandans out there?
Thank you. I just want to say that I did go gorilla trekking into the rainforest, into Bwindi. So I challenge other Ugandans to do the same. I came all the way from California, so you guys need to go and do this as well. And I will say that I was very intimidated. Yes, I was. And I kind of hid behind someone because a gorilla passed directly in front of me. So that was... that was...
But a nice experience. The tension is nice to have.
It was exhilarating, and it was.
I probably also have the same.
And if you've never had a gorilla look you directly in the eye, I tell you that is...
They're missing out. Well, thank you very much, Lisa and Kevin, for joining us this morning. And of course, we'll be looking forward to more of the reads, especially with the book also coming out. And of course, more that will be coming your way. But well, good morning, Uganda family. We still have a lot. If you are unable to get the book as soon as you can, we also have to spot out for you some of the entertainment you can look forward to, and some of the movies that are obviously hitting cinemas or even your platforms that you can look forward to. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be diving into that.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Hey, it's time to play. Let's go! We're glad you came because we love to share. Let's have some fun. What should we try next? With everyone, because we love to learn together, making new friends forever. Sesame Street friends.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too!
go! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Go TV. Love it.
This is Good Morning Uganda.